Hello there, doctor. In this episode, we're talking about different side hustles you can do as a doctor. And the first question we're starting with today is what platform should physicians start with? Start with side hustle. So I'm Dr. Ann Trump.
I'm Dr. Mike Woo-ming, and to best answer that question, I think what we have to focus on is before deciding what platform is where is your audience at? Where is your potential audience going to be at? And in social media, there are definitely certain social media platforms that cater to specific demographics.
Yeah, so that's really kind of like reverse engineer first. And your goal is that what niche are you focusing on, and then who are you talking to? Once you've answered that question, you can decide what platform you should use. So if your niche is coaching for doctors, is LinkedIn. If your niche is more non-clinical, then is YouTube. What's good about YouTube is that YouTube encompasses all age and all demographic, male, female, from 20 to 70s. That's why I love YouTube. But if your niche is helping seniors live independently, you wouldn't want to post on TikTok, right? TikTok is more short form for younger crowd. You would probably want to post on YouTube, and Facebook is more likely the platform that you want to choose. So it really all comes down to the who you help and what is your niche, and that's where you can decide what platform to use to go talk to people. Because saying from one of my mentors is that doctors are best teachers, and if you can teach, you can do marketing, because marketing is all about teaching and letting people know what you do and how you can help them. That's why I feel that doctors are in best position to do this. They just need to know that they can do it within the confine of their clinical boundaries in the education realm without being a physician to everyone. Because I know doctors worry about HIPAA and they worry about medical board and so forth. But when you're out on social media, you're just educating, you're not treating anybody at that point. So the platform depends on your niche and on who you serve. And to answer your quick question, the bottom line is the best platform is YouTube. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think you had a good summary right there, and I completely agree. LinkedIn is great for business to business. If you're in consulting, you've got a coaching program, maybe you're trying to spark a speaking career, I think LinkedIn is the best way to go, especially if you're doing physician to physician. YouTube, I think, and you're the expert on that, especially if you're looking to create something long term and you want to be an authority and it's evergreen content. YouTube is going to be there, unlike an Instagram where it's there and then it's gone and it's often hard to find. So videos continue to work for you months, years after year, even after they're being published. And also, if you want to get stuff quickly, what we're seeing, I'm using it, TikTok and Instagram Reels. If you want to get to grow your audience quickly, I think they're having the greatest reach right now. But just remember, people who follow you are not automatically are going to become your customers. And that's why I suggest whatever platform you're on, focus on getting their contact information. And generally, that's through an email because social media platforms can change their algorithm overnight. But an email list is an asset that you can own and you can build on there. And it's a great way to nurture relationships and generate revenue.
So just to kind of dive deep into detail what Mike just said, how do you get somebody to sign up to your email list to have a trade? Let's say if you're on YouTube, if you're helping women for weight loss, you can say, hey, I have a guide on how to lose weight naturally without pills in 5 pounds in 1 week. So you say, well, if you want this guide, go to the link down below or go to weightlossmenopause.com. And once they go to that site, then you ask for their email in exchange for the guide. So you give them the guide and then you get the email. So that email then goes into your software system, and that's called the email list. Okay. So your email list is the list that you own, because the platform that you use, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all rented space. What that means is that they can shut you down any moment without notice, without even an excuse. I know people that had millions of followers get shut down like that. Sometimes they don't even give you a reason why they shut you down at all. But if all your business depend upon that, then you're in big trouble. But if you're able to extract a viewer and get their email, then you own that list. Nobody can take that list away from you. And most sales, most transactions occur through emails list. Once you get that email, it becomes your gold mine that you can then mine off of presenting different offers and different educational content. So that's how you get somebody's email. So you can't just get somebody's email straight off of social media. It's just exchange of value, really. And that's what it means by when I just started out marketing, I didn't know what that sentence mean, like your email list. That's why once I understand the customer journey from being a viewer to an email list, and then from that email, then being on the email list to turn into a buyer. So there's a progression of free email and then a buyer, low ticket. Low tickets anything under 100. Big tickets it's between 100 to 500, and then 500 up is high ticket. I'm able to bring a person that watches my video on YouTube and exchange for their email and then selling them 15,000 and up in high ticket. It does work. I've been finessing that system for the last 5 years, and it is our flywheel that we're working on to optimize at this time. And so it does work. And people say, well, you can't do high ticket. You can definitely do high ticket if you know how to create content that convert. So that's just kind of the explanation what Mike had just said. Anything else you want to add about the platform that we haven't
Yeah,
talked about?
and usually when I talk to physicians on this one, say they usually say, "Well, I want to be on all the platforms," and that's where I think physicians they overestimate what they can actually do. And what happens is they try to spread themselves on all these different platforms, and they end up doing none of them. So what I recommend is just pick one primary platform, master it, and then you can expand. Consistency on one is going to beat inconsistency if you're trying to do everything like that. And just focuses on YouTube. YouTube has more than enough, potential clients and prospects just through that. And then she later expanded to other different platforms. Do it one, do it really, really well, and then grow from there.
Absolutely. And I still focus on YouTube. I mean, we have grown in Facebook and in TikTok as well. I don't even know how many followers I have. But what we did was that we just take the same information on YouTube and then cut it into an appropriate segment for Facebook and TikTok. But I spend all my time on YouTube. That's where the majority of our revenue come from. And pick one platform until you cross over 1 million, then you can then cross pollinate to a second platform, or else you burn out. You will literally burn out if you try to do too many. So I'm glad you mentioned about that.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question we have is how can I get started consulting for industry as a full-time physician?
Very good. And again, it is very similar to what we discussed. First off, what is the industry that you want to do? And we recommend leverage what you already know, leverage your current expertise. And the best way to do it is to identify in that industry, are there problems that you can solve that you think the companies would pay for? That's where I first get started. And that having that curiosity, having that thing, focusing on problem solving will open up more new doors. You don't want to market yourselves just as a physician consultant. You want to market yourself as an expert, whether it be medical devices or building a cash pay practice or erectile dysfunction, and then focusing on that particular market. Figure out how to solve problems. And then once you find this out, the next thing is to become visible about that you are an expert at solving problems. How do you do that? By creating content consistently, using different platforms where they're at. Are they in LinkedIn? Are they on YouTube? You don't need to go and get a certification. I think that's what a lot of people do is they go, oh, well, I'm going to go get a certification and do it. I would rather have someone who is actually in the trenches and has been in this industry and has identified problems because they've had the experience to do that. Then they went out and got a weekend certification course on there. That's how you're going to get your portfolio. That's how you're going to get becoming a consultant, and that's how you become an expert in that industry.
Because once you have content on social media or like on YouTube, that becomes your digital resume. I'm a consultant for several brands as well as I also help doctors get consulting deals as well. And the first thing that they ask is, how does this person present on video? How charismatic is this person? How articulate is this doctor? You've got to have like something that they can look at that. So your social media channel is your digital resume. So that's the first thing they want to look at is how you articulate what your personality is like. And they want to look at your channel. And once they look at your channel, they can decide whether they want to work with you or not. So they already know you're a doctor. They know you're credible. That the next thing is presenting your content to show that you're the expertise. So once they see that, they already know you're an expert. The next thing is, are you the person that they're looking for? So being on social media, producing content, not only are you educating and building your business, but you're also presenting to brand and showing brand who you are, what you can bring to the table. And brand will not even start meeting with you until they look at your channel. That's how I was able to get 5-figure brand deal for just a couple of hours. I mean, they're talking like over $10,000, several brand deals of consulting about their medical product, as well as consulting for a supplement company, and even producing a 30-second video on their brand. And they compensate me for $4,000 for that. So only because they found my content and my videos on YouTube align with their brand, but I have to present myself well. I have to be able to have that character that they're looking at. I'm not saying be fake. I'm not saying anything. Just be yourself and be the educator that you are. And the brand will decide if they want to work with you. But you have to be out there. You can't just cold pitch a brand without being on social media because they want to see who you are before they even spend time working with you. And brand, you want to wait for brand to reach out to you. But you could pitch them, but you got to make sure that you can be found online first as well. So just from the perspective that you have to put yourself out there, have people know what you do, who you are, and then you can start slowly pitching because once you get over maybe 10,000 followers, you can start pitching. And in fact, when you get over 10,000 followers, you're eligible for brand partnership on YouTube as well. So what that means is that it's not more than affiliate. It means like if you are promoting this sunglass or readers, you can get like 30% of the retail price. The more followers you have on YouTube, the more the percentage you get for the partnership brand deal, which is different than the affiliate commission. Anything more you want to add to this, Mike?
Yeah, actually, I want to share with you a conversation that I had with one of my coaching students, anesthesiologist, and we were helping her start up her business that she's been doing on the side. Went to a networking event with other physicians, and she's very well versed in lots of different industries. She just had a conversation with a cardiologist who was, and I don't want to give away her niche, but he was developing something, and she actually had expertise in that, and it was part of her job, and she was actually not getting paid for this part of her job. She just established she was an expert in this particular line of work. They had a conversation, and hour later she's already pretty much dotting the i's and crossing the t's on a 3-month contract that is going to pay her very, very well to do this. And it was just about her actually talking about it, just having a conversation and going to an event, going to a networking event where she just met other physicians. You have to understand, especially if you're a physician, people would rather work with other physicians rather than an outside consultant. So many of you already have expertise in these areas where you may not even being paid for it. And if it's a line of work that you want to continue, why not discuss this? So, in addition to establishing yourself on social media and going to and getting your followers, it's also important to go to other events where you can discuss things, where you can show your value, where you can discuss about how you can become an advisor for this. So, don't just go to conferences where you can get CME at. Try to go into different areas. I started talking about AI a few years ago because I started going to conferences where I was the only physician there talking about AI. And it's a lot more popular now, but I could name maybe I would be the only physician in that AI conference, which puts me in a strategic advantage for other physicians who did not. So put yourself out there, go to other events, and then just be strategic. If that's something you want to do, start developing content that establishes your expertise, have kind of like a 90-day plan to get that going, and let them find you rather than you have to chase them.
I love what you said that. And so just go out there, doctor, and create content. Now is the best time more than ever. And I want to piggyback on what I said earlier, that you are in a position to do this more than any other field, because to be online as an influencer, you need three things. You need credibility, authority, and reach. So as a physician, you already have credibility because you're a physician, authority because you're the expert in your field, and then all you need is just that followers. But everybody, Mr. B, everybody start at zero. All right, so you got to start, and then you can build momentum from that. Okay. Let's see. We have another question here. Last question: is personal branding worth it if I want to become an entrepreneur? All right, Mike, you and I have both been an entrepreneur for a long time. And honestly, if you're in private practice, you're an entrepreneur, because a lot of what you do is running a business of a private practice, and you're an entrepreneur. So I see that running a private practice is almost like running a corporation. You can do it with one person, you can do it with 500 people practice. So why do you need personal branding if you're already an entrepreneur? Mike, you want to start?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most important returns on investments that you can make as an entrepreneur, especially at being a doctor, because having your personal brand isn't just about becoming famous, it's about becoming known to the right type of people, or the right type of people in your industry. What building a personal brand, first, it's going to create trust. You're going to create trust before you're even having the conversation. I've had people who've become clients of mine, and it wasn't because they met me or my for the first time. It's because they've listened to me talk about my podcast. They've seen me on webinars. Maybe they've seen me speak at an event. So people already feel like they know you. And when they know you, then hopefully that they'll like you, and then they'll trust you. What it does also, personal branding, it's going to create opportunities. It's going to create people who are more able to find out what you do. How do you do that? By going to speaking events, by becoming a guest on a podcast, by going to events where you potentially become a partner, or investors are coming up to you. Another benefit is it's easier and it's cheaper. Sure, I could get in front of millions of people if I bought an ad for on the Super Bowl, right? That's certainly one way to do it. Or you could do it as Anne did, by strictly just talking about her expertise, getting her name known for free via YouTube on there. And now she has hundreds and thousands of followers and didn't have to pay a Super Bowl ad cost there. And it's just easy when you're doing it. It helps you become a better entrepreneur on it, because you're developing your own brand, you're launching new businesses, and it's easier to start a business if you already have an existing audience rather than starting with zero. So those are just a few of my thoughts of why I think personal branding is definitely worth it, becoming an entrepreneur.
Because brand is recognition and authority. It's like brand, it stands for, like when you see an M from McDonald's, you know that's McDonald's. Like Starbucks, you know that it stands for good quality coffee and relaxation, right? So brand comes with the name recognition, but also what it represents and what you do. And once you have that brand, it's an easy transition to grow your business, and that's what entrepreneurship is about, right? It's about growing the business. And I've been an entrepreneur in private practice in 2000. And then I didn't build my brand until beginning of 2021. I didn't build my brand online until then. But I noticed when I built my brand, it elevated my business, like a 10x my business more. So I kind of did it backward. Usually you should build your brand first, then build a business. So I have a business first, then build a brand. But as the brand grew, the business grew 10x. I think more than 10x, more like 15x, and still growing. And what's good about that is once you build a personal brand, think of it like your 401k. You put money in and then it compounds. It compounds over the years, and you don't have to put in a lot more work for it to pay off. It's more leveraging. You put in a little bit of work and whew, like pays off. Your brand grows quickly, and then your business follow it as well. Like right now, what I'm seeing with our brand is that we already established ourselves as the leader in men's sexual health and the channel that produces content and converting high ticket. So what we're doing now is that if we just tweak one little thing in our business, we will see a 5x growth. We don't have to tweak a lot to see that. So what I'm trying to get at is that if you're an entrepreneur, you need to build a brand, because the brand and entrepreneurship goes together with that. You want people to think, okay, Dr. Ann Trung, what does she stand for? Dr. Mike Woo-ming, what is he known as? And I want to add on that, Mike, that I found out about you through podcasts during 2020, where I had a lot more time. I was exercising more, walking, and I had you in my ear talking to me during that time. And that's how I know Mike, and that's how we connected. And now we're business partners as well. So you never know who listened to you and where that will lead into other future endeavors as well too. Anything else you want to add, Mike?
No, I just love the idea of, compounding on there, because what you're doing when you're building a personal brand is you're developing an asset. And that asset is just probably the most valuable thing that you could do is your own branding. And sometimes even the word branding, I know it can kind of sound kind of weird as physicians on there. So I often say, rather than think of itself as building on a personal brand, it's answering the question is like, how can I become the most trusted voice in my niche? If you continuously answer that question, you're going to continually grow. More people are going to flock to you. More people are going to get opportunities to you. I remember one client said, a few years ago, you have all of these different businesses and you all of these different opportunities. How did you get it? Was because I was building my personal brand. I was establishing, putting myself out there. I didn't have to apply to like 10, 20 different jobs. I let my things that I created, my podcast, my YouTube channel, my blog, those were my best salesmen for myself. And you can do the same thing. It's going to be the best return on investment that you could ever make.
Absolutely. So go get to it and check out other questions and what platform to use. And I want to tell doctors that build your brand. Not only is it for your business, but it could lead to other doors that may not be possible for you. So all you need to do is you need this to start building your brand. You just need this phone right here. It has a microphone, it has a camera, and you can just sit in front of the window and start recording. But first, know who you help, how you help them, and what outcome that you're delivering for, because you got to narrow that down first before you start building a brand. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. And don't forget, if you want more resources, we have free courses on building brand and physician entrepreneurship in our free school group at doctors with an S onlinesuccess.com. Check out the link down below and join the school group, because this is where we want to pay forward in helping doctors leverage their medical expertise online to build multiple income stream. It is possible. You just need to take that step. So join Doctors Online Success School Group. The link is down below. We got lots of free courses in there for you all, and we also have group training as well. So we hope to see you in there. Mike and I will be doing workshops in there once a month as well. And check it out. Having said that, just know that you're just not a doctor, you are a doctor boss.
We'll see you next time. Bye bye.